Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and I'm back with another video for you guys. Unfortunately, rated battle spot is down for tonight, so I won't be able to provide a live commentary video. So this is just one of the battles I had a long time ago that I had saved up, and it's a really fun battle. It's against Jacob. I think it was in a Nugget Bridge live tournament, and it was really close. As you see here, my team is going to be Kangaskhan, Rotom Wash, Garchomp, and Talonflame. Jacob's team is going to be Rotom Heat, Diggersby, Garchomp, and Charizard. So let's get right into it. One of the unfortunate things about the saving battles is you don't get to see team preview, but I'll do the best job I can in describing the battle. But yeah, it was a really fun battle. As you see here, I'm going to go with Kangaskhan and Rotom Wash, and my opponent Jacob's going to go with Garchomp and Charizard. And I have a pretty good lead matchup here, especially with Fake Out pressure, so I'm going to Mega Evolve here. And I know that Charizard's most likely going to Protect because it doesn't want to get Faked Out and Thunderbolted, but I went for the safe play, knowing that I could get a free Will-O-Wisp off here. Charizard does Protect, but I didn't want to get KO'd by anything like Overheat, so I did just go for the Fake Out into Charizard, because I know Garchomp can't really do anything to either Kangaskhan or Rotom Wash. Dragon Claw doesn't do too much, and Rotom does hit its Will-O-Wisp, so at this point I'm really hoping that it's not Lumberry, and as you see here, it's not Lumberry, so that's huge. Getting a Garchomp burned is always really good. Now this next turn, I kind of misplay a bit. Charizard's Mega Evolving, and I kind of assume my opponent to actually double target the Rotom because it's the bigger threat, and go for a Dragon Claw and Solar Beam, which is why I opted to stay in with Kangaskhan and, not switch out. So I just went for the return on Charizard, but and the Protect on Rotom, and this was a kind of a mishap on my part because if I just attacked with both, I would at least ensure to get one attack off. But Garchomp's going to go for the Rock Slide here, doing a minimal amount of damage. But as you see here, Charizard actually goes for Heat Wave instead of Solar Beam. So that was really well played by my opponent. And it's actually going to just pick up the Kangaskhan, KO on Kangaskhan. And I didn't even get to go out with the Sucker Punch. So that was a really poor turn on my part. And my opponent basically got to pick up a free KO there. And I lost my Mega Evolution. But here I bring out my Garchomp, knowing that it's speed ties with his Garchomp and can Rock Slide, and I don't expect the Charizard to stay in, or I expect it to Protect here, so I just went for the Dragon Claw. Unfortunately, that pays off. He was most likely Jolly Nature too, so I want to speed tie there, but considering he was at -2 and normal Jolly Garchomp can't even KO opposing Garchomps, I was okay with that. You see that the Garchomp actually carried Rocky Helmet, so I was glad I didn't go for the Fake Out on it with the first time with Kangaskhan, as I Thunderbolted into the Charizard's Protect. So now it's 3-3, and I've kind of gotten some momentum back, but of course I still need to KO that Charizard, which actually switches out here. The Diggersby comes in, and almost all Diggersby I've seen in VGC are Choice Scarf, so I go for the safe Protect here on Garchomp, knowing Diggersby can't do very much to Rotom Wash, and expecting that Charizard to switch out, so that plays out perfectly. And I go for the Will-O-Wisp here, and fortunately enough, it hits, so that's really big, because I've burned the only Pokemon that outspeeds Garchomp at this point, so now I can outspeed his Rotom Heat and Charizard, which I have a great matchup with Rock Slide. Diggersby for the following turn does go for another return on Garchomp, and even with the burn, it still does a very good amount. Of course, I'm just going to go for the Rock Slide here, knowing that it's super effective against the Rotom Heat, which is a really big threat right now. Because Talonflame is my last Pokemon. Rotom Heat is going to take around 60%, but heal back to a good amount with that Citrus Berry. And Rotom Heat is actually going to go for the Overheat here, which is boosted by the Sun. So that's actually going to pick up the KO onto Garchomp, which is huge on my opponent's part. Of course, it's going to lose -2 special attack, but the trade-off was definitely worth it because Garchomp was a direct counter to his Charizard Y. So that was a great attack by his part. My Rotom Wash is going to go for the Hydro Pump, but because it's in the sun, it basically negates the super effective damage, and I won't be able to pick up the KO. However, that's perfectly fine knowing that my last Pokemon is a Talonflame, which does get priority Brave Bird. I also know that since Diggersby has revealed itself to be Choice Scarfed, I'm not worried about anything like a Rock Slide, and I know I can take a return with both of my Pokemon from it. So I just go for the Brave Bird onto Rotom Heat because obviously that's the bigger threat against both of my Pokemon, and I do pick up the KO here, taking very minimal damage, but I am going to pick up some Life Orb damage here. Fortunately enough to still take a return from that Diggersby, as you see here, I am going to survive with a healthy amount. Rotom Wash is going to hit its Hydro Pump, so pretty fortunate there. Even with the Sun, going to pick up the KO onto Diggersby, so now I have a 2-1 lead. But of course, my opponent's last Pokemon is Charizard Y at full HP, which can easily take a Brave Bird from my Talonflame. So I'm kind of, at this point, it's obvious that my opponent needs to go for the Solar Beam onto Rotom Wash, because no matter what I do with Talonflame, it's going to KO itself from recoil. One of the reasons why Talonflame isn't as popular, or not, people don't like it as much, is because it does so much damage to itself. And you see here, I barely miss on the KO, and Charizard has very little HP left, and I know the game is won at this point though, because my Rotom Wash, as you guys probably know from all my team building videos, is bulky enough to survive a Solar Beam. So as you see here, it's going to take it like a champ, hang on with 17 HP, heal a bit back with that Citrus Berry, and this is why Rotom Wash is so awesome. It can take so many attacks, even a super effective Solar Beam from Charizard, and it is going to finish this game up with a Thunderbolt onto the Charizard. So I'm going to take the game 1-0, very close battle. I thought I was really fighting, it was an uphill battle right after I lost that Kangaskhan in the second turn, but fortunately I was able to come back, and it was a really fun game. My opponent had Diggersby, which is a Pokemon that you don't see very often in VGC, but there was actually one player, I think his online username is Link Yoshi Mario, and he managed to top cut 3 regionals with it. So Diggersby is very, very viable, and Rotom Heat, I don't think as common as Rotom Wash, because Rotom Wash has overall better bulk in terms of typing, but Rotom Heat's really, really good and can completely shut down teams too. And the fact that I was able to pick up the Garchomp, the KO on Garchomp was pretty cool, especially with the Sun boosted Overheat. Anyway, that's it for today's battle, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.